often people procrastinating and putting off doing the thing that they know that they need to do, that they know that they should do until later, and kind of how to address that and attack it in our lives. And I'm talking about specifically like the people that, let's say you've been wanting to build a course or a coaching business, but you haven't made traction. It's been like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. I know people that even watch my content. They've been saying, hey, I'm going to build one of these businesses. I could literally make a list of names that I know that you've been saying, hey, I want to create a business, a coaching business or a course business. And it's been 10 years. 2014. I met y'all personally. That you've been saying that you want to do this for a long time, and yet you've not been doing it, and you've been procrastinating. At some point, we got to become aware of what's really going on. And I think that oftentimes it's a deeper level issue is what's actually happening. And I have a lot of empathy for this as far as this goes. You know, I believe we have to discipline ourselves. Motivation is fleeting. You're not going to have the motivation to do things. You have to do hard things even when it doesn't feel like you want to do them. We talked about this in the last couple of videos. You cannot allow the fear of how you look to others stop you. But at the end of the day, sometimes it might be related to mental health or trauma or things that maybe you need to heal and work on that are actually causing the procrastination. And it might be things that you've been avoiding looking at in your life that are why. And so one of the number one things that I know, if you've been putting off building a coaching or course business, it's self-awareness as to why you're procrastinating, why you're putting off something that you could do today to tomorrow. Why are you taking so long to do the thing that you say that you want to do? At some point, if you take longer than, I would say 60 days is kind of my litmus test, that you've been saying that you're going to do something and you've not done it, something's going on. In my life, I have an example of this. Accounting. I have bi-weekly and monthly meetings with my accountant. But I found that because of my own certain trauma issues and things like that, I procrastinated for 60 days on certain things that they asked me for. That literally only took me 10 minutes to do. And it was because there was something deeper beneath the surface that was actually stopping me from doing those things. I was afraid of, quote unquote, not fulfilling other people's expectations of me was one of the biggest things. I was very harsh on myself around those areas. I was very self-critical of myself. And so actually learning to heal and grow and realize, oh, that comes through this thing that happened 10 years ago. This happened because somebody got mad at me in this area, things like that. And so if we look at that there are things that we know that we need to do, but we've been putting them off. Maybe you know that you need to build a course business. Maybe you know that you need to build a coaching business. Maybe you've taken training after training after training and you engage with content and you go through content constantly and yet you're still not taking action. Instead of fighting it, instead of defending yourself, because that's what I see most people do. They get defensive. Well, I'm not doing that. Well, I don't do that. Well, I'm not. Self-awareness. Taking ownership. Taking ownership for yourself as to why you're not doing what you should or need to do. What's happening? What's actually going on up here? I think one of the biggest atrocities of our culture is that mental health healing is demonized and condemned. And yet it's one of the reasons why people procrastinate. Is they're not willing to look at what's going on inside. And it takes courage to do that. It's going to be painful to do that. But oftentimes, it's actually the thing that's going to get you out of procrastination. The reason why I see a lot of people procrastinate has to do with their thinking. Has to do with their beliefs. Has to do with what's going on up here. And if you don't address those, you're just going to be in the same cycle, same loop, doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again, and nothing's ever going to change. So number one, that's why getting a good mentor, having a coach that can call you up, raise you up, call you out to new levels is going to help you. That's something that I can do for you. That's something that my content does. That's something that I hope that I'm able to do. If you follow my content, I'm not going to patty cake bakers, man. You're not my son. You're not my 1-year-old son that I'm going to do that with. I'm going to be straight up with you, and I'm going to tell you what you need to do to actually be successful. Most people who follow my content are very resistant to a lot of the things that I share. But the ones who actually are willing to listen to it are successful. And so those are the ones that I'm speaking to. I understand not everybody's ready to even hear this. See, because a lot of people, they're like, well, no, just show me the strategy. Show me the way to know for certain that it's going to work. And actually, that's tied to mindset. It's tied to your thinking more than anything else. And so if you can address that, if you can look at that, if you can become self-aware, if you can look at, okay, why have I been putting off for more than 60, or let's just say not 60, let's extend this out, 120 days, let's say 6 months. Let's say you've been spending the last 6 months putting off something that you know that you need to do. Heck, let's say you've been spending the last 18 to 24 months, 2 years, putting off something, but you know you want to do it. Why is that? I have a great example of this for myself in my life. Filmmaking, video game production. It's something that I'm growing in slowly, that I'm stepping out into, that I'm doing that. And I notice myself, I procrastinate in that area because I'm focused in on building this business right here. But I find that I take moments and I really am working on this to grow in that area, to learn. Maybe how do I fit into that industry? It's a dream that I have that I'm going after very slowly, like a lot of you. But I'm making progress. As long as you're making progress, that's a good thing. But at some point, you're going to have to take a leap. You're going to have to do something. You're going to have to take action. Otherwise, you're going to have to admit to yourself that maybe that dream isn't for today. Maybe it's for tomorrow. And that's kind of what I decided, is that it wasn't a dream for today. And that's why I'm actually okay with setting it aside for a while. And that's one thing that I want to encourage you in. If you've been procrastinating for 10 years, but you find yourself on the same stinking cycle every year, every January, I'm going to create a course business. I'm going to create a coaching business. This might sound weird as somebody that teaches you how to do this, but I'm telling you, it's better for you to decide not to do something than to keep struggling and striving in circles. And I want to see you succeed, and I don't want to see you struggle. Now, for those of you that want to know what are the step-by-step logistics of creating a course in a coaching business, on Saturday, January 13th, I'm going to walk you through how to do that from scratch. We're hosting a live Zoom event on how to do that. There's a link on this post. You can register for that. I'd love to work with you, and I'd love to help you and show you how to get the ball moving forward for you. All right? So I will see you on Saturday, and we'll